Ramsuratkumar ki
Jai.
Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Ashram Once again, let us be grateful to Bhagwan for getting this opportunity to sing his powerful name, knowing that it's no small grace. There are 100 reasons why we shouldn't sit together and chant the name. There are many more interesting things to distract us. Reasons why we shouldn't sit together and chant the name. There are many more interesting things to distract us. And the mind is only too eager to grab them. And despite all the temptations, all the distractions, if you are able to manage to sit together and sing no matter what, it's a huge blessing and we should celebrate it. We have been going through instances which depict the glory of His name, the glory of His grace. Let us look back and relive some of the experiences of the devotees so that we do some tapas. Bhagwan has said, even to remember his coconut shell will draw grace from Bhagwan, from his father. And what to say of reliving those experiences of other devotees and make them our own. Sri Ramchandra Upadhyaya, the proprietor of Udupi Hotel, has been a devotee of Bhagwan from 1967, as early as 1967. It's a very interesting story how he came to know Bhagwan. His brother-in-law Govinda Bhatt was running a hotel, Udupi Hotel, here in Thiruvanamalai, and Govinda Bhatt recognized the greatness of Bhagwan and that he invited Bhagwan to come and have food in the hotel free of charge. Govinda Bhatt considered it as a great fortune for him to feed Bhagwan. In those days, Bhagwan was in the streets. So even before the world recognized him for what he was, Govinda Bhatt did. And it was in 1967 when Sri Ramchandra Upadhyaya had come to Thiruvanamalai. The very next day, he sat there in the seat of Govinda Bhatt. When Bhagwan walked in, of course, Sri Ramchandra did not know Bhagwan at all. So he did not much care. And after food, Bhagwan came out and offered money for that. Very casually, Shri Upadhyaya accepted it. And Swami went out. Govinda Bhatt was seated there, a little away from the hotel. Bhagwan went and joined him. And Govinda Bhatt asked him whether he had food in the hotel. Swami said, yes, and I paid also. Govinda Bhatt got a shock. He immediately ran to the hotel, met Ramchandra Upadhyaya. Shri Upadhyaya says that Govinda Bhatt took Shri Upadhyaya's hand and put that in the hands of Bhagwan, literally and figuratively, and said that Ramchandra should never take money from Bhagwan, that he should never fail to feed him also. So that is how the grand relationship between the two of them started. And for the first 10 years, Bhagwan was having food in the hotel whenever he chose to have. And in the next 10 years, after 10 years, Bhagwan said, Ramchandra, this beggar would not come to the hotel and have food anymore. Whatever food that you prepare at home, you can send through your children. And this beggar would accept it. It was gruel, rice gruel. In the next 10 years, Sri Ramchandra was providing food to Bhagwan. At that time, in 1990, he came across, there was a problem. The hotel was on rent, but the owner of the place, there was a quarrel between the two of them, Sri Ramchandra Upadhyaya and the owner of the place. And he used a very bad word, the owner used a very bad word on Ramchandra. Unable to bear any more, Sri Ramchandra rushed to Bhagwan. But then even before Sri Upadhyaya said anything, Bhagwan knew already what happened. And Bhagwan immediately rushed to Sri Ramchandra Upadhyaya, took his hand in his and said, Ramchandra, anybody could use such words, such filthy words on this beggar. They can call this beggar any name. It's okay. But they should not use it on you. That is very bad. Just see what he said. It was okay to call him so, but not his devotees. Ramchandra Upadhyaya, he wanted to vacate the place. He was already building a structure there in the land that he bought a little away from this place. And he was yet to finish that. It would take another 2 months to complete that structure. And again, he was also worried about the business, how it would flourish in the new place. He had his own misgivings about this. But then Bhagwan assured him, Ramchandra, you would enter the new hotel on January 1st. But Swami, it will take more than 2 months to complete it. No, Ramchandra. You will enter the new hotel on January 1st. And don't worry about the business. It will be roaring. It will flourish more than it did here. Don't worry about it. My father would see to it. And true to his word, on the 1st January, Sri Ramchandra Upadhyaya went to the new place to do the celebration, the function for entering this, and Swami was already sitting there. Not only that, not only on that day, for nearly 1 week or 10 days, Swami was going to the hotel early morning every day, would sit with Ramchandra Upadhyaya, and he would have, until he had breakfast with him, and then only he would return to Sannadhi Street House. So much so, the devotees of Bhagwan began to make fun of Sri Ramchandra Upadhyaya. They would say, "What, Ramchandra, if you want to see Yogiji, we have to come to Udupi Hotel." But Swami said, "Don't say anything." He gave food to this beggar when people did not know him at all. He did not even know who I was. The world did not know anything, and he treated this beggar very badly. But Ramchandra gave food to this beggar. And Sri Ramchandra Upadhyaya says, at those times when he was giving food constantly, he said there was no disease at all. Nobody suffered from any disease at home. And everything was going smoothly. There was absolutely no problem. It was a problem-free life for them. See the gratitude of Bhagwan and how he returned it. Now we shall shift the scene to Srimati Pankajam Das. The devotees of Bhagwan know her very well, very devoted to Bhagwan, and she would sing very beautifully. And in those days, that is, I think it is in 1998, Swami asked her to stay in Thiruvanamalai itself, not go anywhere. But before that, in 1992, she was an artist in the All India Radio, and she would get calls from there. From Trichy, she got a call. They invited her to come and sing devotional songs. The program was given to her, and she was planning to go. She was coming and going at that time. And Swami immediately asked, when she informed Swami that she was going to Trichy after 2 or 3 months for a program in the All India Radio, Bhagwan said, "Where would you stay?" She said she would be staying sometimes in Bell Cantonment, Thiruvarambur, or sometimes in Srirangam. Bhagwan said, "This time you stay in Thiruvarambur. And there in the Bell Cantonment, near that, there's a round of shops. There's a couple there, Lalita and Satyanarayan. Would you please go see them? This beggar knows them very well. This beggar would like you to go see them, talk to them." She said, "Yes, Swami," and then she went. The DGM people, DGM of Bell, she knew them very well, so she stayed with them. And then she went in search of these people, Lalita and Satyanarayan. She found a small shop, a stationery shop. There was very little light there. What was more, there were hardly any stationeries there. It looked very poorly. She went up, called on them, Lalita and Satyanarayan. They were so happy that Bhagwan had sent word to them. So they began to tell her how they ran into him in Tapovanam, and they would be talking for hours together. So they were recalling those experiences, and finally she took leave of them, came back, reported promptly to Bhagwan how poor they were. There was not much of any business there. They were finding it difficult to run the shop. Bhagwan said, "Oh, is that so? We shall see." And he dropped the topic. And 3 months after, again, there was a call from the Trichy All India Radio. And this time, Bhagwan asked her to stay in Srirangam. She was wondering. Of course, Bhagwan also added, if she could meet those people again, it would be nice. She went and stayed in Srirangam and rang up to those people, Lalita and Satyanarayan. And then Lalita said, "Oh, good. Swami asked you to stay in Srirangam. That's very good, because on the road to this place, there was an accident yesterday, a very bad accident. The whole traffic was affected. Is still affected. It was a major accident. So it would have taken hours for you to reach the place." Just see, Bhagwan knew already what was going to happen, and accordingly he arranged for her in Srirangam. She was very happy to know that. And then this time when she visited this Lalita and Satyanarayan, it was a completely different story. The shop was very bright with lights, and there were so many things. Obviously, the business was flourishing, and their conditions had improved immensely. And then Lalita Satyanarayan said, after Bhagwan sent word to them through her, they got a message from Bombay that one uncle of Satyanarayan was sick. And so he rushed there, and it is he who looked after him in his last days. The dying uncle gave some portion of his property, some money to these people. And then everything became all right, that they did not suffer anymore. And they said it was all purely the grace of Bhagwan, that their living improved so much, and they lived very comfortably now with a flourishing business. All because Bhagwan sent word. How did Bhagwan remember them at the time when they were suffering? How did he send Pankajam Das to those people to enquire? And then how everything followed? An uncle, a dying uncle in Bombay, should call them, and they should go and serve him, and then he should leave some considerable money for them. When you think about it, when you think of their state before and after the grace of Bhagwan, we are wonderstruck. How did he know? For so many years, he did not ask for them. Just at the time when they were suffering, he knew. Because they had fed him in Tapovan, when Swami was there. He never forgot. There's another interesting incident. I think it happened in 1981. Now, long before that, when Bhagwan, in the middle 60s, probably 1965 or so, Bhagwan used to go to the railway station because railway station was the refuge for many people who did not have anywhere else to go, especially when it was raining or when the sun was oppressively hot. Many people took refuge there. And Swami was also visiting on and off. At that time, when Guru Rao was the station master there. Swami sometimes would go there to their house and ask for some water to drink. Guru Rao had a daughter by name Gomati. Gomati was only a very young girl, a school-going girl. Somehow she was drawn to Bhagwan. Of course, the father and daughter, they did not know that Bhagwan was a great master, was a great soul. Yet, Gomati was drawn to him, and she would very lovingly ask him to eat something. She was very happy to make some rotis, chutney, and then she would feed him very happily, and Bhagwan would accept. Many, many times she had fed him. Bhagwan never forgot it. At the time when he was wandering, nobody knew him, nobody recognized his greatness. Gomati was ready with food for him. Not that they expected any blessings from him, they did not even know his greatness, but they were ready with food whenever he came. And Bhagwan never forgot it. Now in 1981, see, all this happened in the late 60s, early 70s. After that, Guru Rao was transferred. Now in 1981, Sri Appana Iyengar visited Bhagwan. He was visiting Bhagwan off and on. In 1981, one day, Sri Appana Iyengar was seated with Bhagwan in Sannadi Street House. It was a new moon day. On a new moon day, meeting a great soul, spending time with him is highly auspicious. In fact, Bhagwan himself greeted, blessed Sri Appana Iyengar, saying, "Appan, you must have done a lot of meritorious deeds to earn this, that you are able to spend new moon days with this beggar. It's not a small grace." And then Bhagwan suddenly recalled this Guru Rao. Appan, you would be going to... Appan himself was a station master. He was a ticket collector. He would be going in the train, the ticket examiner, TTE. So Bhagwan was addressing him. He said, Appan, when you go to Srirangam, will you find out about one Mr. Guru Rao and his daughter? They must be there somewhere. He said, yes, Swami. The very next day, he went to Srirangam, and just when he was thinking that how he would find out about Guru Rao, one Mannar Rao was going in front of him, just a little distance away. See, when Bhagwan gave some work to somebody, there would be a lot of assistance coming his way. There would be help coming easily. So when he was just thinking how to find out the address of Guru Rao, one Mannar Rao was walking in the front, and immediately he caught hold of him and said, Mannar, do you know anything about one Guru Rao? Mannar Rao just turned and smiled and said, Guru Rao? What are you saying? I was with him even yesterday. I know him very well. Yesterday, some bridegroom had come to have a look at Gomati. They had come, they were visiting him to see the girl. A prospective bridegroom. But then Guru Rao is very worried because he doesn't have money. He's an honest man. He has not saved any money. He's very worried about the expenses. Suppose those people say, yes, okay, we would marry our son off to your daughter. Suppose they agreed to marry them off. Where would I go for expenses? I don't have money. And also they must say yes in the first place. So Mannar said, Guru Rao is very worried. It is surprising that you should ask at this time about him. And then Appanayangar knew why Swami wanted him to go and see. Immediately he rushed to Guru Rao's place and passed on the word of Bhagwan. He said, Swami inquired about you. Swami remembered all those times when Gomati was offering food to him. He wanted me to find out how you people are. And then when Guru Rao said that he was a little worried about this, the very next day Appanayangar came and reported everything to Swami, and Bhagwan said, you please go back and tell him not to worry. Those people, those Bangalore people would say yes. And then they would not ask for any dowry or jewels. He would not have to spend so much money on marriage. He doesn't have to worry. My father would see that the marriage is celebrated well. So immediately Appanayangar rushed to Guru Rao and assured him, passed on the blessings to him. And true to Bhagwan's word, those people came, they willingly arranged for the wedding. They would not ask for any dowry or any jewels. So the marriage took place in a grand manner to the great delight, happiness of Guru Rao and Gomati. Now a few months after, Appanayangar and his wife, they visited Bhagwan again. And this time Bhagwan said, he gave 2 apples and then lots of flowers. He said, Appan, you go to Srirangam now. Gomati might have come from Bangalore to visit her father. So her father and she, Gomati, would also be there in Srirangam. You visit them and you hand over this to them. And you bless Gomati also. The husband and wife, you go together. Go and bless Gomati. Appanayangar, when Bhagwan told him that, Appanayangar already knew something. He heard that Guru Rao had shifted from Srirangam to Bangalore at the insistence of his daughter and son-in-law. So he was not living in Srirangam anymore. Gomati was already settled with her husband in Bangalore. And here Swami is saying, you go to Srirangam, hand over these apples and the flowers also to Gomati. But then he could not bring himself to say that to Swami. He had to obey whatever Swami said. So he and his wife immediately rushed to Srirangam, and he was wondering what to do, because he knew very well that Guru Rao was not there in Srirangam. So with the 2 apples and lots of flowers, thinking of Bhagwan, when he stood there in the station, just see what happened, the magic. There was a train there on the opposite side, and from the train, Sri Guru Rao, his wife and daughter Gomati, all the 3 were getting down. And what was more, they were going out. They engaged a bullock cart to take them to their house. Sri Appanayangar could not believe his eyes. He rushed gleefully towards them and called out and said, look, Swami has given this prasad for Gomati. I had no idea I would run into you people here, because I thought you people had shifted. And Guru Rao said, yes, we have shifted. But it is very, very strange that Swami knew all the details, that he should send you on this day. Gomati is now pregnant, 3 months pregnant. And we have to do some function here in this house. So she has also come with us, and we would be spending some time here until we celebrate this. And today is the day we chose to land here. And Swami knew it. So you see, everything happened one after the other, like magic. And Gomati was very much blessed. Swami already knew, probably, of course, why probably, he knew for sure that Gomati was pregnant and there was going to be a function in their old house. And they were returning to Srirangam for some time to live there. Everything. Now, why I am saying this, Bhagwan never forgot the people who fed him in those days. He was very, very grateful to them. Not only that, he never missed an opportunity to tell us all, people who gathered around him sometime or the other, how he was fed by these people, how great they were. So this is one thing that we have to learn. Swami never forgot people who helped him in some way or the other, even the smallest. They might have got a single cup of tea once, just once. He would remember and he would celebrate the event. He would just go on telling them, you know him? He is great. He bought this beggar a cup of tea. The way he would accentuate the whole thing as though they had given their life for him. It would have been just a single cup of tea at one time. But this gratitude is what we have to learn from him. This attitude of gratitude towards a master, because our Bhagwan has been giving and giving and giving so much to us, more than we deserve. So we should remember always to remain grateful to him. Our devotion must be accompanied with gratitude. Always remember whoever helped us at any time, even the smallest thing. Like Bhagwan, we should learn this quality of being grateful. What do we see these days? People who get help forget it. People who give help always remember it. Whereas it should be the opposite. Bhagwan had suffered so much. In those days, when he went and stood before, 2 days, 3 days, he wouldn't get anything to eat, and then he would feel so hungry. He would go and stand before a tea stall and beg for a cup of tea. There were times people threw hot water on him, making fun. Oh, without working, you want a tea, you want a cup of tea. And they would throw hot water. I remember once Bhagwan describing when he was in Jolarpet, there was a bungalow there. He felt very hungry, hoping that he would get something there. He went to the gate and asked for some food. And those people set a dog on him. So why wouldn't he remember those people who fed him without expecting anything in return? Especially in those times when he was not even recognized by people. Again, this is a lesson for all of us that we should remember. It should be a devotion to Bhagwan with gratitude. And to such boundless compassion of Bhagwan, we shall appeal and submit our prayers today. Bhagwan,